I love me a good mystery, and Netflix is giving us an adaptation of Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club novel in the form of a movie. Now, the cast is stacked, so should you watch this whodunit, or is this more of a why in the world should you watch it? Four irrepressible retirees spend their time solving cold case murders for fun. When an unexplained death occurs on their own doorstep, their casual sleuthing takes a thrilling turn as they find themselves with a real whodunit on their hands. I've not read any of the novel series, so this review, just as always, is based on the film, not the book. Now, this has a wonderfully stacked cast with Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan, Ben Kingsley, Celia Imrie, and Naomi Ackie. And there are also supporting performances from David Tennant, Jonathan Pryce, Tom Ellis, Richard E. Grant, and Paul Freeman. Now, I'm not sure this would be classified as a cottage mystery, but it still has a cozy quality to it thanks to the central location of this retirement home and then the surrounding small village. Plus, the characters are a tight-knit group of friends who then get mixed up within the murder mystery. The plot, it's not overly complex, but it has enough twists and viable suspects to keep you guessing through a lot of it. The central cast, they are awesome together, each showcasing personality quirks that make them endearing, sometimes hilarious, and also useful for the weekday geriatric killer society that they're part of. And while the novel probably spends a lot more time on each of the characters' backgrounds, the movie does a surprisingly good job of filling us in on the cast so that they don't feel like strangers. And thanks to naturally occurring conversations and interactions, the development we get, it's not clumsy. For example, Helen Mirren's character of Elizabeth, she drops hints consistently throughout the story as to what she did for a job before retirement. And these come from an inquisitive newcomer to the retirement home, so the questions, they make sense. And we're also given confirmations later in the film, so we're not left dangling with some character questions. Now, the characters, they all feel catered to the actors who play them. Pierce Brosnan is a laid-back playboy/teamster. He can get rowdy when it's needed, but is also suave and charming, much like his former Bond persona. Ben Kingsley is astute and knowledgeable, employing smarts and wit to decipher clues, along with being the more refined of the group. Celia Imrie is the newcomer to the club, and while she has skills from her former career that are extremely useful, she's also a warm and loving person who sets people at ease by providing baked goods. That's somebody I want to be friends with. Now, she comes across as a tender grandma, even though we don't know if she has grandkids or not, and that's not really important for the story. Naomi Ackie becomes an honorary member of the murder club, first because her role as a police constable provides the group with intel into cases, but also she's bored with the mundanities of small village police work, and she enjoys the challenges of working with the elderly amateur detectives. Now, Ackie fits in well with the older generation of actors, creating a bridge gap that melds the modern with how things used to be. Now, these scenarios aren't belabored or harped on to make Ackie seem extremely young, nor are they used to make the retirees come across as ancient and out of touch. The camaraderie and the friendship that begins to grow between Akkie's PC de Freitas and the TMC, it's sweet and touching. Is it a little bit far-fetched in believability? Well, yeah, of course. This isn't made to be such a complex and twisty tale that the story lives in ultra-realism. It's a cozy case that features just enough risk and danger to create some suspenseful moments, but not dire enough that this becomes a Fincher film. The location for this movie is beautiful, but it's not used enough to become a character for the plot. The retirement home, it's an old estate, or maybe it's a castle. I'm not really sure how they're classified in the UK, but it's a frickin' huge stone building with tons of rooms and then sprawling acres of green grass and trees that make it stunning to look at. But for this case, the vast amount of rooms and the land, it doesn't come into play very much for the story. Now, the writing creates a good balance of intrigue and humor, keeping the mood light despite having a killing at the core narrative. Now, the characters, they're cute, easygoing, and even when they can be intense to certain others, they still maintain a bit of softness and charm. And like with any quaint mystery, we get some semi-bumbling, or maybe at least disarming, police to then create conveniences for the TWC to uncover clues and solve the majority of the case. And the semi-bumbling, that doesn't include Akkie's PC de Freitas. She's the smart one within her precinct. But the other cops that she works with, they're just slightly inept and more jadedly dismissive of the elderly sleuths, allowing the club to get into situations and discover information they otherwise would never be privy to. And sure, the characters in story receive a lot of plot protection to allow unencumbered story progression, But the case, it isn't dumbed down to create a boring trudge through a lame puzzle. The writing is witty, the editing keeps the story progressing quickly and efficiently, and the characters are magnetic as they command the screen using the decades of talent shared between them. Now, if you're into hardcore suspense murder mysteries, this isn't the story to dive into. It's intriguing, engaging, and full of lovably quirky characters who are equal parts snark and smarts. In the case, it's complex enough to keep you guessing, but not so overly convoluted that it's going to make your brain hurt. I'd put this in a similar class with the Knives Out franchise. Enjoyable cases, enigmatic clues, twisty story elements, and then a cast who draw you in with their charisma. The Thursday Murder Club, it isn't classic Agatha Christie, but it is loads better than a lot of the Harlan Coben mysteries that we've been getting lately. Mirren, Brosnan, Kingsley, Imrie, and Ackie create a wonderfully entertaining group that I want to watch solve many more cases before their time is up. There's no sex, some hand-drawn nudity, some profanity, and a little bit of violence. I give the Thursday Murder Club 4 out of 5 couches. So what are some mystery films that you love to watch? Now, Clue, that's an all-time favorite, but Identity, that's a solid thriller too. Let me know some of yours, though, in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.